50-50, mate.
Tom Hardy is one of those rare actors who seems to possess a magnetism so potent that even his brooding silences are more engaging than some actors' monologues. Whether he's mumbling through a mask as Bane or stealing scenes in a three-piece suit as Alfie Solomons, Hardy has a knack for taking roles that, on paper, seem unrelatable and making them deeply compelling. This is a man who can grunt his way through most of Mad Max, Fury Road, and still make you feel like he deserves an Oscar for emotional range. But what is it about Tom Hardy that makes him so captivating? And why is the world obsessed with him? Let's start with the fact that Hardy doesn't look like your average Hollywood heartthrob, which is precisely why he works so well in leading roles. He's rugged, sure, but he also has this air of unpredictability, like he might steal your lunch just to see how you'd react. His smile can flip between charming and slightly terrifying in milliseconds. It's a quality that makes him perfect for playing characters who live on the edge of chaos. Need someone to play a guy who punches people for a living while also reciting poetry? Tom Hardy is your man. But Hardy's appeal isn't just his looks or his ability to stare intensely into the camera while delivering cryptic lines. It's his sheer commitment to his roles. This is a guy who bulked up to play a violent MMA fighter in Warrior, then dropped significant weight to play a crack-addled homeless man in Stewart, A Life Backwards. He's not just an actor, he's a shapeshifter. He even mastered multiple accents for Legend, where he played twin gangsters Ronnie and Reggie Cray. And let's not forget his bizarrely theatrical performance as Venom, where he somehow made eating live lobsters in a tank seem logical. What's more, Hardy's off-screen persona is just as intriguing as his on-screen characters. He's not your typical A-lister, he's more of a mystery wrapped in an enigma wearing a leather jacket. He's openly admitted that he finds fame uncomfortable and would rather spend his days hanging out with dogs than schmoozing at Hollywood parties. Speaking of dogs, his love for animals is practically a subplot in the story of his life. His rescue dog, Woodstock, once accompanied him on red carpets. Because why wouldn't you bring a dog to a premiere if you're Tom Hardy? And then there's Hardy's infamous mumble. Whether it's deliberate or just a result of his method acting, his tendency to make dialogue sound like it's being filtered through a cement mixer has become something of a trademark. In The Dark Knight Rises, his Bane voice was so unintelligible in early trailers that the studio reportedly had to tweak the audio. Yet somehow, the mumble works for him. It adds to his mystique, as if he's a man so deep in thought that his words can't fully escape his brain. Hardy's ability to laugh at himself is another reason people love him. While he's known for playing intense roles, he's not afraid to show his lighter side. He once read a bedtime story on a children's TV show, wearing a cardigan and holding a puppy, which caused the internet to collectively swoon. The contrast between his tough guy roles and his real-life softness is part of what makes him so endearing. One minute, he's playing a brutal gangster, and the next, he's making jokes about his own mumbling or taking selfies with fans. In interviews, Hardy often comes across as refreshingly candid, albeit with a side of cheeky sarcasm. He doesn't shy away from discussing his struggles with addiction in his early years, which makes his success all the more inspiring. He's the classic example of someone who's been to the brink and back, and now he seems determined to live life on his own terms. Whether that means taking on a role in a blockbuster or a quirky indie film, Hardy doesn't seem to care much about conforming to expectations. And then there's the fact that Hardy has a sense of humor about his own fame. When asked about being labeled a sex symbol, he famously quipped that he's got a face like a foot. Only Tom Hardy could describe himself as vaguely amphibious and still come off as ridiculously attractive. It's this self-awareness combined with his undeniable talent that makes him so likable. He's not trying to be a Hollywood star, he just happens to be one. In short, Tom Hardy is a paradox in the best possible way. He's an actor who can be both understated and over the top, a leading man who doesn't look like one, and a tough guy with a soft heart. Whether he's playing a sociopathic gangster, a masked revolutionary, or an alien symbiote with questionable dietary habits, he brings an intensity and authenticity that few can match.